bunda no alto, deixa a bunda no alto, deixa a bunda no alto, deixa a bunda no alto, fica a bunda no alto, deixa a bunda no alto, fica a bunda no alto.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tried It podcast, where we discuss all things from millennial struggles to relationships and love and everything in between. I'm Jade.
I'm Maya.
And I'm Kadisha.
Oh, we didn't know what we were going to do it there.
Always last.
I know, I was going to do it again because I was thinking we did speak about it, but what did we say?
It was like,
yeah.
am I last? Am I not? Am I
Exactly.
And then you said, did we have this conversation before? And I said, yes.
So that's why I was like, let me not stall too much because then this is going to be where we started.
Happy Black History Month, guys.
Yes.
Woo. I think it's a bit weird that we only have 1 month a year and that we can't just celebrate these things like all year
Daily.
round. You know, we'll take what we get and then hopefully in the future we'll be able to spread it out throughout the rest of the months. But it's October. How are we feeling about it being October, first of all? Like, this year's gone so fast.
Hasn't it just? And it's actually coming up to our birthday soon as well.
Tried It podcast birthday.
I was about to say, huh?
Yeah.
Maya, we all went Thorpe Park, right? You know what happened on
Yes.
your B-day?
Tried It podcast is going to be 1 year old. Is it this week? Or is it next week?
It is this week. It's the 5th.
I
Is it
remember
the
us starting in in August,
Wasn't
no?
it the 14th or the 9th
5th. You told me the other day 5th.
that we recorded, but when did we release it?
Oh, okay. Well, then a week after.
It's like the first week of October. So yeah, it's basically our birthday. So send us gifts. Cards.
We'll put our
check,
PayPal accounts in
PayPal,
the bio
yeah.
to this episode.
Just drop some love on our latest post that will obviously be birthday related. And yeah.
We'll be having a dedicated episode for that, right?
Yeah.
On our birthday episode.
Yes, we will. But
Talk about all our
today-
best bits and all that.
We might bring cake.
Maybe.
Not that you could have any.
Maybe a
but-
cheeky candle.
You never know. Brent, what are you saying? Yeah?
Oh.
But yeah, with October, I really feel like this year, I don't know why, like every year for like Halloween, I dress up just for the damn
You've
kids
been
coming to the
saying
door.
this. I
What?
never
Just
dress
for the kids
up.
coming to the door.
Do you know them?
No.
Do they pay your
And you know what?
bills?
There's only like one kid that comes to the door these days, and I'm just like, you know what?
Listen, I live in a flat and I still put a sign outside saying, don't you dare. Listen, I ain't got
You're the
time for
Grinch.
it. Don't ring my bell.
Trust me.
How are you going to leave your house to come to my house to get sweets? Get the concept and
wanna
it's
dress
fun,
up, do
but
some
Did
no.
you used to trick or treat when you were little?
Do you think my mum was into that?
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why you hate it.
No,
You just
I was glad. I just don't get it. Like, it's not like I'm throwing a Halloween party and I'm giving to people that I must go to Tesco, spend £8 on the bucket of sweets just for strangers to come and knock on my door and I give
Yeah,
it
but
to
it
them.
makes more sense when you're also going out there to like when I was younger and we used to trick or treat, my parents would go and buy it because like it's
You're gonna
returning
get
the
it in
favour.
return, yeah.
Yeah, but you're not giving to the people that are giving to you.
I know, but it doesn't matter. You're still going to receive it somehow. I'm not with it at all. I don't think it's a good thing
I'm not
as
into it.
such.
Halloween parties and stuff.
Yeah,
maybe,
see, I want to
like-
go to some. I just
No,
want to dress up and do
no.
my
I just
makeup
like I
this
like
year.
themes.
No.
So I like people saying this is the theme, obviously fancy dress. I don't like all the ghosts and the blood and all of that, but like fancy dress, like some people dress up as like superheroes or like fairies or I don't know, but I just like
Fun themes restrictive.
why when you could be anything
Because
but yourself.
Yeah, and also no theme isn't saying fancy dress.
No, fancy dress. Yeah, fancy dresses.
Okay, fine, yeah, but I don't like that. Because you have to go to effort. And I barely even go to effort
It's
in my
true.
everyday dress. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like the outfits is long, but the makeup I like.
Yeah. As we've got older, you can just do makeup on shit, and that
Yeah.
is life.
But
I hear
people will
that.
just do like smoky eye and some blood here.
No,
Yeah,
I wanna
they
do-
that.
I wanna, like,
or
try
contact
some
lenses
all
if
that.
the white contact.
But I love when
lenses.
people do like aesthetics and it looks like
Oh,
open.
yeah, like the prosthetic
Fun
things.
fact, I wanted to do that in college. But
Oh, yeah, you'd have been good at that.
I enrolled late, so she was like, just do beauty therapy. You can do it next year. But that beauty therapy course was so hard and so long and so strenuous. By the time I got to the end,
Yeah,
I was
you're
like,
like, fuck that.
tap out. No, I need to be making money now.
Another
But I
fun
did wanna
fact
do it.
about Kadisha is that she used to be in the Steel Pans Club.
Yeah, we found this out.
The hell? Okay.
That is a fun fact, and it's
Okay.
lovely.
Well, okay.
She probably had competitions and
I
everything.
know.
Moving on. All right, on to the main topic.
Yeah.
Black History Month. When
Interesting.
did they start that? Do we know?
Oh, I actually did read this. It was created, so it started in 1926
Wasn't that long ago.
in the United States
Okay.
when the historian Carter G. Woodson and the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History didn't want to say that word, but it was in there. History, and now it's the second week of February to be Black History Week.
So why is it
1926
October for us?
Yeah, I don't know why it's October for us.
Oh yeah, because they have a different
October
when
is
Americans in the start
February.
of the year.
February.
Yeah.
October is when African chiefs and leaders gather to settle their differences.
Oh.
So Akiaba chose this month to reconnect with African roots.
Interesting.
I like that.
Or many thought that since it was the beginning of the new academic year, October would give Black children a sense of pride and identity.
Oh. Well, it's true though, because remember in school when it was Black History Month, you do a 1-2 poster
We didn't do a damn thing.
and learn about
Yeah,
Rosa
we
Parks.
didn't, but that's because I lived in
White
predominantly white area. It's so bad. I feel
The
like
only
that's why
things
they
that
need it.
my school held up was the Catholic apostles and like the priest and like St. Andrew and them, man.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. Even our form classes were named after like,
Oh yeah,
Saints.
saints. Yeah, same.
yeah,
That's because if you go to a Catholic school, that's what they do. innit?
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah, like I think it's maybe less so in a funny sort of way than when my parents went to school, because my mum says she remembers watching Roots in class.
So did I actually.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in class. But like I watched Roots in like year 9, 10 maybe, but she knew about it from younger than that. Like
Oh, I
she was
didn't.
watching it younger than that. And she said that it came out at the time when they were in school. So
I
then
never
they
watched
would.
Roots to the end. I always get halfway through and I'm like, can't do this. It's
Very
so
traumatic.
Yeah.
I watched it when I was quite young. Like I remember watching it at home as well, but I don't remember exactly. Like I don't know if I can remember exactly what happened now. But yeah, I watched it quite young. I guess because it probably came out like when I was quite young.
Something I did want to talk about on this episode, because I feel like there's no other fitting time, was about when I went to Kunta Kinte Island in Gambia.
Oh wow.
Have I spoken about it with you guys?
No.
Oh, evidently. Okay. So we went to Kunta Kinte Island, and basically in Gambia, it's very, 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 very nice, but it's very rich in history. And now that it's been quite gentrified, because obviously it's touristic and loads of like old white women are going there and getting young Gambian men, and it's just awful to see because it's just, it's just not nice. But anyway, yeah, that's happened. But one of the main things that we did do when we went there is to do this. And to even getting there, like the whole journey, you can sort of imagine how they felt. Like you've got to take a
God, it's
really, really
tiring.
long, like we were supposed to take a boat, but the boat ride thing flopped. So we had to get a car and we drove all the way. Well, someone drove us, but even the driver was like horrible, and bumps in the road, and you go through villages and you do this and you do that. Not that that's the horrible bit, but like, you know, like you can feel the dread coming. Do you know what I mean?
you
You're
can
just
imagine.
like,
Yeah.
and you can just like how they must have felt. And then you get to this place and you have to get a boat. And I'm not talking like a yacht boat or anything safe. There's a ladder
Yeah.
hanging from where you're going, and it's rotted because it's in the water, obviously, and you climb that. And in fact, actually, because we're talking about this, I'll add to the Instagram like videos and pictures I have of it. And it's just, honestly, it's horrible. Then you get up and then you can just feel instantly like so many.
So what's
like,
Kunta Kinte Island?
so that's where Kunta Kinte grew up.
Okay, right.
So he grew up in Gambia. Not a lot of people know this. He was from there, and there's a whole museum dedicated to him. Yeah, there's a whole museum dedicated to him. It was called Toby by the white people. That's what they called him, the slave. And there's this whole story, and I don't know if it's really true, but basically legend has it that Kunta Kinte married a woman, and her name was, I can't remember what, but they called her a white name. And then they had a kid. And then that kid, they had 1 or 2 kids. And then one of those kids was with a slave master. And then that slave master and the woman's kid was called Alex Haley. Or his grandson is called Alex Haley. And Alex Haley was a historian, writer, blah, 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 blah. I didn't really know much about his roots from America, obviously grew up in America, didn't really know much. And then by chance, he came back to Kunta Kinte Island in Gambia and was doing research for a book he was writing. And before all this happened, when Kunta Kinte was taken, because he was a big person in the community, when he was taken, all the African elders were like, don't worry, he'll be back, he'll return to us, he'll come back to us. So then when Alex Haley came, everyone was like, he's come back, like this, because how would he know? He knew nothing about his background. He was American, so his whole thing's wiped. Do you know what I mean? He didn't know anything about, like, literally all he knew about slavery was that it happened and that's why he's here. He didn't know anything else. He'd gone and he found his way and he was like, I'm just looking for some this. And then they tracked it down and he's like, yeah, he was your great, 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 is Kunta Kinte.
What, Bear Great?
Yes, you get there, and Kunta Island is where he's from, and then you see like the chambers of where all these slaves were kept, and you see like there's still chains on the floor and stuff, and you see like it looks like a lighthouse, but it's just all like cold and horrible. It's just really, really nasty, and then you can go. But what was really weird and uncomfortable for me in a way was that there were white people there as well, and I just felt like, what are you thinking when you come here? Do you know what I mean? And not that they shouldn't come.
But what if they're
I'm
coming to just learn about it?
Yeah, of course, exactly. That is what they're doing. But I can't help but just feel angry because in that moment, I'm looking at them and I'm just thinking like, fucking hell.
See what your people did?
Literally. But obviously that's wrong of me. But I'm just thinking, and then there was a woman there and she was pointing out, she's like, oh, that's my granddad, that's my this, that's my that. And it's like, you know that means slave owner, right? Like, you know that. Yeah. And I feel the same way when I see like Caribbean
What do you mean
people.
she was saying that's her granddad?
Like, obviously, like one of the names
in
written.
this room, you want to
into-
own that up.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. But you see it all the time because there's so many white Caribbeans who are like, yeah, I'm da-da-da, and they've got a Caribbean accent and they like that woman on dinner dates or whatever.
Oh my
It's just
God,
like that. That really
woman.
gets to me because I
Yeah,
don't
that
think you
pissed me
can
off.
claim that you are Caribbean.
Yeah.
And if you are, then say what it really is, which is that you were a slave owner. Your family were.
But she
or
was even
someone.
saying something about I got a maid or something. So you go to Jamaica to go and get maids. If you want to live that rural lifestyle and, you know, have some culture about you, why do you have a maid? Do it yourself. Like nobody else over there's got maids.
Yep. I know.
Yeah,
out
but she
of
definitely
order.
wasn't like a very
Because if she came to
cultured
England,
person.
she's not getting a maid.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's what I always feel like hesitant about. Like when I see even like people, there's some people I know that are like our age and they're like really bang hard for like places like Trinidad or Jamaica or wherever, and they go to carnival and they're from, they're like, my whole family's there, my nan this and blah blah blah, and they're white. I'm like, are we all pretending like we don't know what this is really, what this is? Do you know what I mean? And then I remember I had a client
Makes me feel
once.
so uncomfortable.
No, I had a client once and she was asking me like where I was from and stuff, and she's like, Matt's parents are Trinidadian. And I was looking at her for a second, and I hadn't met her husband by this point, so I was thinking, could be a chance, all right. And then I met him and I was like, sorry? And she's like, yeah, they're from Trinidad, they love it there, they live there, they this, they moved there ages and ages and ages ago.
20 years.
Obviously.
Yeah.
12 years a slave, boy. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. And they just, but what upsets me
How long
is
do you have to live somewhere to say you're from there?
to get citizenship. I don't think
No, not to get citizenship per se, but just like,
to
I
claim
feel
it.
like if
for
you've
example,
been
how
born
long
and
do
you've
I have
lived
to
there your
live
whole
in London
life.
to say I'm from London? Because when people say you're from London, I never say yeah. I just say I live there. I feel like I'd be a fraud if I said
Yeah.
I
An
see,
imposter.
Yeah. So I always say, no, I'm from Leicester, even though I've not lived in Leicester for like 6, nearly going on 7 years.
Do people from Leicester or from, if non-Londoners ask you, are you from London, will you say London? Is it just when Londoners ask you from
No,
London?
anyone.
Really?
I always say Leicester, but I hate saying that because not because
You
like,
don't wanna claim it.
Not because I don't want to claim it, but just like I just feel like it's just unnecessary information about myself that I'm giving you that I don't have to, but I feel like I need to. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that is another thing that like really surprises me is that like we think because when we watch TV and other media that black people weren't here
Yes.
in those kind of times,
Yes.
like Downton Abbey
Yes.
or like any the even before that, even in like common Coronation Street,
Yeah.
you don't see any black people, so you don't think that they actually exist.
And if you do, there's one.
Yeah, like the first black families come on Coronation Street just the other day, and did you know that?
No.
Yeah,
But
there's
they've
a
had a
big
mixed
thing
race
of
boy. for
Yeah.
ages.
But they're like an entire family of black people.
Oh, yeah. EastEnders has always got one black family,
One Asian
Asian
family who are, everyone's so stereotypical as well.
Yeah.
The Asian family have to be Muslim and they have
Literally.
to be at least someone marrying someone who's not allowed.
Yeah.
And it's a biggie.
And literally, because they had the Masouds, and now the Masouds have gone in, they've literally replaced them with the Masouds, but their other family, they're called the
Khans.
Ashards or something. And then like literally Patrick is the Trinidad man, and he went back and came back with a wife, and then the first thing she said, like one of her first lines was, "I'm gonna cook up a curry goat." You've just got off the plane. You're not cooking curry goat. Take your coat off.
That is so funny.
Like, take a bath. You're not cooking curry goat. As soon as you get through the door, you're not. And I just thought, who's the writer?
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not the fault of the writer. It's who they want you to be. Do you know what I mean? Because my dad has a friend, and he's on a lot of like British TV, and he's been trying to break through for years. And he's there but like not where he wants to be for his age. And he is always like, I remember when I was younger, he'd call my dad and I was like, yeah, you in anything recent we're going to see on TV, blah, blah, blah. Because we'd see him from time to time. And he'd be like, oh, it's the same shit. They want you to have an Indian accent and they want you to just be Patel and shake your head.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all they want you to do.
Patel.
Hey, that's it. That's all they want you to do. And like, if you're trying to step out at all and be anything else, get straight
That's
back in.
why, do you remember that there was an Asian show and they were like,
Goodness gracious me.
no.
Citizen Khan.
No, there's a comedian. There's a comedian. What's his name?
They were a family, but they were like
Oh.
really British, but they were Asian.
Yeah.
It's similar to my family, but not my my family.
Yeah.
But they were Asian.
All right.
It's old. That was
Okay.
really good.
And what?
They were. It was just like literally Asian British people. They had their own TV show. I can't remember what it's called now, but it came on like BBC One
Okay. And then what got
back in
cancelled?
the day. Yeah, it just stopped.
Yeah. Because the thing is, you got to think of the audience you're trying to promote to. Like, people don't like their ideals to be smashed. Do you know what I mean? And so if you're trying to show an Asian British person, for example, who is succeeding and who's this, who's that, you're then breaking the stereotype that they are just all
That was it.
coming
There's,
over and
like-
taking our jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a comedian on Netflix. He's called Aziz Ansari. I love him, and he has like his own like show, and on there he's like an aspiring actor, and he goes to like these
Castings.
castings, and like he's trying to play this role, and they're like, can you just like be more Indian, just like, you know, can you speak with an accent, please, and all this stuff, and he's like,
Literally.
oh,
And it's annoying because they want you to speak in the accent just so they can say, sorry, what did you say?
And so they can tick a box and be like, yeah, we're not racist. Look, we've got him. He speaks like that. Look at him. Yeah, but anyway, getting back to Black History.
Yeah.
So what they said about like why it's in October for people in school to be like more proud of stuff. Do you think that you felt that?
No, because I went to a white Catholic school. Like
Quite
five or six black people in my year.
oh damn,
No, a bit more than that. There was a big school that we had 2 bands. There's like, okay, maybe 10 black people
Okay.
in a year, but that's still not a lot
I know.
in a year.
Totally.
And that, like in each year. So, and obviously all the black people sort of knew each other and grouped together, but there wasn't a lot of us. In my form, there was 3 black people. And then in the other form, was there 4 forms? I can't remember now. School was like ages ago. But yeah, there was like 3 per form.
Yeah.
that's
So
mad.
the reason that I think
But because there's only 3 per form, they don't have to cater to us. Well, they didn't feel
Exactly.
like they had to,
Yeah,
because
sure.
we're the minority. So
Yeah.
we're gonna do St Andrew and St Paul because everyone cares about them.
because you know what as well, I always felt like in school, like I don't know about you, Khadijah, but when we would learn about the like it's gonna sound so controversial, I don't even know how to say it. When we would learn about history and we'd learn about the war and like England and France and stuff, it never, sorry to say, triggered like emotional pain in me. What?
I agree.
Okay. I thought you were saying stop talking.
History was
what
my nap
war?
lesson.
Like the one about like England
Yeah.
against France and Germany and
And
those
they
kind
were
of ones.
Yeah. And
All
they
right.
had to take shelter.
That couldn't evoke emotion
Oh
in
right,
me.
yeah.
But obviously slavery, I was barling.
Yeah.
Like anything like, you know, not that we learn anything about like Indian history or anything, but that upsets me as well. I find it hard to have emotion for things that I cannot relate to.
Yeah.
And that I know my people weren't part of. Which
Yeah.
sounds egotistical when I say that, because I'm not trying to say it's all about me and who I am, but it's unfair because when people who aren't the minority are in a situation when they don't feel like they're being represented, you hear about it and it's fine, it's unfair. But when it's anyone else, it's like, oh, why are you not crying at that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't even think the people that what we learned about with the Germany and all that World War II and stuff, I don't think it invoked emotion in anyone either. I think that even though it may not have been the same type of emotion that it would have maybe triggered in you, I think that it would have been good for us to be taught in my primarily white class about like Black history stuff.
Definitely.
Because like even if it may have been triggering in a different way, I feel like people would have been more interested. Do you know what I mean? People
Definitely.
would have been having conversations about it.
Awareness.
Yeah, I feel like it. Yeah, that's what I think.
I agree.
And in relation to that, but when we was talking about the transgender episode and we were saying how they're trying to inject it into every single school at every single age, why are we not doing the same with Black history and other cultural histories? Like, we have a whole subject of history on the curriculum.
Yeah.
You don't need to spend 5 years talking about the war.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason that was another theory I have is even the quality and caliber of what we learn about with Black history is basic.
Yeah. It's always the same thing.
Slavery.
Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, slaves.
So is Mary C. Cole.
I didn't hear know that much
know.
about her. I know about her now, but it wasn't from school.
Like
Oh,
Harriet
okay.
Tubman, we never spoke about.
Yeah, I don't know who that is. I didn't know about that.
We've got Neil Kenlock over here. But he is moved to Britain from Jamaica in 1963 and he's been at the forefront for documenting the Black experience in the UK.
Oh.
He's a photographer and he's become renowned for his images celebrating the culture and lifestyle of the UK's Jamaican community. He was the official photographer for the UK Black Panther movement, producing powerful portraits and prominent campaigners and protests. He was also a star photographer for the first national Black newspaper, West
Sick.
Indian World.
And then
think
he
my granddad used to
co-founded the
read
Choice
that.
FM. which we know-
He
do you know
co-founded
that now?
Choice FM.
Did he?
Right. See,
Wow.
that's the thing. So this is leading on to my point. So in school, we learn about Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King and whatever. Now, when you take those things, which are huge, monumental things, 100%, then you take back the fact that they are from America. So that's completely different to what we face in Britain. Then you take on the fact that how old they are. Again, we're much younger. We're not even seeing colour too tough at this point. Then you take on the fact that like we're young and we've been born into not equality, but way more equality than they experience. So it's hard for us to understand that struggle at that young, impressionable age. I think it'd be much more effective for us to be learning about other people that we can relate to.
Yeah.
Like the Choice
Yeah,
FM.
yeah, yeah,
if they'd
yeah,
in
yeah.
class been like, oh, did you guys know about Neil?
Yeah.
He actually, you know Choice FM, which you listen to every day on your way here? Yeah, he co-founded that. What does co-founded mean? That means actually found it, blah, blah, blah. And he also does this and he's done that. And then you'd want to pick up West Indian World or like the newspaper and read about it. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to do that. And I think the reason they don't want to do that is because they want to keep it so alienated and isolated so that we don't feel comfortable to be like, well, we can't stand for that because this happened to us. And they're like, oh, that's years ago. And we know that's years ago.
But they will
so that's
say,
why you
we're
can't.
still talking about that. And it's like, when in actual fact, when did you say segregation finished? Just like 40 years ago.
Yeah.
50 years
Just
ago.
because this is another key thing, Zach, I'm so happy you mentioned that. Slavery finished ages ago, yes.
1722.
But not ages
Okay,
ago.
yeah, ages ago in our lifetimes, I mean. Like before we were all born.
1722 is when slavery was abolished.
1722, which is
That's
still
a long
in this
time
century,
ago.
just gone from this century.
Yeah.
But mental slavery
Yeah,
exists
and like
today.
segregation in terms of like different having black and white bathrooms
But
and
just
stuff
because
like
it
that
was abolished, I don't think it stopped.
Same.
Yeah,
I agree.
exactly.
It's
exactly.
even
It's
happening
still-
now in places like Libya.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and it was like, what was it? What did I say? Yeah, so it was in 1965 that racial segregation was like deemed unlawful. So
And
it's like, and even after that, it would have
1965.
carried on.
So my great-granddad...
Is it 18 or
who's-
1965?
1965.
1960. So
Right.
my
I think my mum was
great-granddad
born. Yeah.
came to the country at 20 years old in 54.
Yeah.
So at 20 years old, came to that
Yeah.
as a black
Yeah.
man from Jamaica.
Yeah.
And then he still had, another 10 years of that.
Yeah.
And then he
And then-
married a white woman.
And then even after 1965, obviously, there's all of that racism
Oh,
all
gosh,
embedded
yeah.
within that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a lot of the times, especially people that are born now, we kind of forget how recent it was and how,
Definitely.
like, that's not that long ago. 1965
But
is
the
not
reason-
that long ago.
the hun-
And it would have
that's- my
carried
mum-
on
and
into
we
the
still have-
80s.
My mum was born.
And we
then.
still
Yeah.
have many, many generations that were still around.
Yeah.
That's why we still get so many racist old white people.
Yeah,
That's why we
yeah.
still get so many
Scared and fearful black
old
people.
black
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. Like who will feel some type of way. Whereas we're more like, I don't give a shit. Fuck them. Like I do what I want. But like there's people still living who couldn't do what they want
Yeah.
and they haven't broke free from
Definitely.
the
The
thought
trauma, the
that-
mental slavery. Yeah.
because they just feel uncomfortable to just live their life.
And the
It's
reason
sad.
we feel that, I think, is because we're not hearing this from people we can relate to.
Yeah.
People we can relate. Like, I think, yeah, we speak so much about slavery and it was terrible, 100%. But the mental slavery that people are still facing, like, I see, like, the fact that now there are more black people in prison than there ever were in slavery is
That's
mad.
insane, yeah.
That
I wanna
means slavery
talk
didn't
about
stop,
this in a
basically.
separate episode, yeah. But I was listening to something and they were talking about why there's so many single black females. This is an American stats, but so many single black females that like can't find love or can't find marriage. And they were like saying like, is it because they're too strong, too independent, too this, too that? And then they were saying, you're not looking at all of the factors. How about the fact that all of the black men are being incarcerated for things that they didn't do? And black women naturally love black men. So if all the black men are being taken away, there's naturally going to be more single black women. But they would just love to say, oh, there's something wrong with the black women, not address the whole issue.
Definitely.
But that's another issue for another day.
Yeah, I've got a lot to say on that.
Before we move on, remember earlier I was trying to remember a man about Britain because I want to talk about blacks in Britain. So I found him now. It's called the Cheddar Man.
Okay.
I was saying cheese man.
Yeah, you said cheese man. Nothing came up.
So the Cheddar Man is a human male fossil found in Go Cave in Cheddar Gorge, Somerset, England. The skeletal remains date to the Mesolithic. It's got a time. And it appears that he died a violent death. A large crater-like lesion just above the skull's right orbit suggests that they may have also been suffering from a bone infection. Excavated in 1903, the Cheddar Man is Britain's oldest complete human skeleton. And then a bit below it says, analysis of the nuclear DNA indicates that he was a typical member of the Western European population at the time. Light eyes, most likely green, but could be blue or hazel. Dark brown or black hair and dark to black skin. So the oldest skeleton found in England belongs to a black person.
Yeah. And we think they only came over in the Windrush because in TV, that's all we see.
Mad.
I also want to say, like, when you were saying, like, why don't they teach these things in school? And I do feel like there is still a lot of, like, ignorance, obviously, first of all, and, like, just shame and awkwardness and scared of saying the wrong thing by a lot of white people, because a lot of the times,
taboo, isn't it, now?
especially like in white schools, and where like I suppose the people that are at the top of the schooling system are probably all white as well. They're probably thinking we don't want to say the wrong thing because it is such a delicate subject that if they're saying the wrong thing, but obviously there are ways to get about that. They should have black people in the education system at the top where they can help them know what to do.
100%.
But I think that even they're just worried that, like, I guess the teachers in schools are going to feel some type of way about it, especially in my area where it was like predominantly white. I'm sure that my teacher, do you know what I mean, would probably feel some type of way about talking about this stuff. But I think it's something that is so important, because then maybe those teachers should go to special classes to know how to teach this. Do you know what I mean? They should be told how to teach this.
Although I don't think underqualified people should be just learning it to regurgitate it. I feel like it should be people who have a genuine interest. Like, I wouldn't want any old history teacher, Mr. Williams, to go on a course, learn it just to regurgitate it. I want it to be taught
so you
with
think maybe
passion
schools could have someone come in to teach about that subject?
I want it to be taught with passion, because if they start asking Mr. Williams questions off what have he's learned, he's not going to know. Do you know what I mean? Because he doesn't care about it enough to learn it for himself. So I feel like it needs to be taught by somebody who knows.
That's what Akala talks about in his book, Natives. He was saying, like, one of his major things in school was like how he was constantly, he's mixed race obviously, but he again was he's not that much older than us, but growing up in Camden at that time, he always rubbed teachers up the wrong way, and he had a lot of cases of teachers telling him he was stupid, and because he would ask questions, because his mum and his dad were very, very on, like talking about Malcolm X, like showing him videos about this and films and that, and really, really important. And he said he remembers a time when he like noticed a distinct difference, and he was embarrassed to tell his mum that someone was racist to him because the mum was white. He was scared to tell her, because then he felt like, I'm dissing you, but I'm not. And then, do you know what I mean? It's just so sad, And then he, like, you know, obviously got through school, and he said he had this one teacher, I think he called him Mr. Mohammed, I think that was his name. And he was amazing, but he was black. And because obviously it was his mission to protect and aid all of the black kids with the knowledge, because that's a huge thing. That's a huge argument as well. Like, I speak about it with my boyfriend a lot, and he's saying, like, as a black man himself, the feeling of the reason people or black people are like not indispensable, but less careful about their lives with that, you know, looking at statistics about black men in prison and stuff like that, is because you don't realise how special you are and how important you are. And Jamelia spoke about it as well when she said, she was talking about something, and she was saying, like, if we knew our history properly, you would know that we're all kings and queens. Like, we wouldn't do that to each other. But because no one thinks that, and we just think, oh yeah, okay, yeah, slavery, but that was ages ago. They don't know about my life now. My life's hard, my life's this, blah, 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 blah. It makes it harder.
Yeah.
And I do feel like the education is always thinking like primarily obviously to teach it to black areas or like black schools and stuff where there's more like black children. But I feel like
The white
like
places
it
where it
almost
needs to
feels
know.
like that's where the white places need
Yeah.
it the most, because that's how we're going to make a
That's true.
change. You know what I mean? A lot of
Totally.
times like children can get it at home, but the white kids definitely aren't getting taught at home.
100%, yeah.
So it's like I feel like that is a big thing that is
Now,
being
recently,
missed out on.
I don't know about all workplaces, but I work in the NHS, which a lot of, obviously, Windrush times, they brought a lot of black ladies over to be nurses, and documentary on with the Windrush nurses, and they were saying how they were treated, and the white people would say, don't touch me, I don't want your skin to rub off on me. And
I don't
you're
wanna
there
get
dying in a bed
infected.
and
Yeah.
you're telling me you don't want my skin to rub off on you. Safe in it. Like, what can I do? And they were just saying that as long as I made sure my care was A1, then they didn't use the word A1 because they're like 70 years old. But, you know, they said as long as I make sure my care is on top of its game.
Not
They
on
didn't say that
point.
either.
As long as I was providing good
As long
quality
as,
care
like-
to my patients.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Then that I knew that there's nothing much more that they could say to me. Like, I
Yeah.
can't change the color of my skin, but if you want me to help you stay alive, then I will. You know what I mean? But yeah, so in the workplace now, they've started introducing BAME workshops where they get like somebody who's like like I went to one a few months ago, and they were saying like in the NHS at the top of the top, there's like no black people. And then one tier down, there's like one black person. One tier down, one black person. And even in like senior management, like where there's bare people, there's still only like 2 black people max. And like, why is it that black people are not able to climb ladders? What's stopping them? And then they want to delve into that and work in each department and get to the bottom of it, which is good in a way, but it's like, if it feels like they do this as protocol to say, look,
you think
we're
they're just
doing
doing
this,
it?
we're
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
into it, but it's not stopping what's happening on the wall, because people's mindsets is people's mindsets. And if you want to prevent somebody's growth and progress because of the color of their skin, that's what you're going to do. You're going to find all types of excuses for it. You're just going to keep doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
So
I even read something. It was like talking again about like, the Windrush like generation and everything, and like the contribution they had to the UK's health service was like insane. Yeah, they made like a huge difference. And it says that now, like even according to the NHS in 2012, there was 193,000 BME staff working in the NHS.
yeah, as
So
cleaners,
it's like,
because they don't mention that in the stats. So they'll be like, this is what we were saying in the BME workshop, BAME.
yeah.
They were saying, if you look at the top, there's hardly any
Yeah, I
black people.
get
If you look
you,
at
I get
the
you.
bottom, there's hardly any white people. Like as cleaners,
Yeah.
everyone's Asian, Mauritius, black, Mauritian, black, and then you might get the odd Polish. But there's no like.
But Polish are seen as that now. They are. They are basically
They are.
seen
This
as
is what I'm
like
saying.
someone of
This is what I'm
colour.
saying.
so
because
if
they're
this is
treated
saying that like
that.
they think that black people made a big BME made a big contribution to the healthcare service, do you think that's true or no? Or do you think
Oh,
it's just kind of made up?
definitely.
No, they definitely did, but it's not in like places like a medical director or a CEO or somebody who has say. It's
contribution
probably like,
is-
it's probably like a nurse or a healthcare
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
assistant
yeah, yeah.
or
the contribution is small enough for them to overlook, basically, innit?
yeah.
They
Okay,
can
so
overlook
it
this.
is there. They are like nurses and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
again,
You
the
just think it
roles
was
are there.
overlooked.
Yeah, the roles are there, and the menial roles in comparison to what it could be.
keeps it running and
Yeah.
ticking over. But
Yeah.
they're not
Decision
game
making.
It's
changers
just
Yeah.
been really
yeah.
overlooked, their role and everything.
Definitely.
Another thing that they've had a big like contribution to is like politics. Well, basically, there was an article that said it was like
This is what I was gonna
sports,
talk about, yeah.
politics, the economy, like all these different things. But in politics, obviously BME people have had a big impact. So in the UK general election early this year, a record of 41 black and minority ethnic MPs were elected to the British Parliament, which obviously we still need. I feel like there's still a big inequality going on, but it's a big step forward and something that shows that we've come a long way. And it follows a century-long tradition of black representation within our political system. Wait, I believe that. I don't think there's
So
not been.
this is obviously
Who wrote this?
This
This is
article is an example of what I'm
Yeah.
about to say about. So in like politics and these kind of environments, obviously as you know, like tokenism is rife. So they will let one through and they will allow that one
Yeah.
person to be the scapegoat.
Do you know what it is?
And
It's because
the-
you need to be careful
that's
with
a
these
lot
things
of
like the
pressure on
independent,
that
innit? You've got to be
person.
careful where you're
But
reading
that's
these
but
things.
that's
It's like
literally
you have to look with such a critical
everywhere.
eye.
That's everywhere. Like everything is like our entire infrastructure
Yeah.
is designed to do
Yeah.
exactly that. Because if you look at it with the white people at the top and and everyone else at the bottom in NHS, for example, that's in most corporate environments.
Yeah, no,
And
it
that
is,
that is
sure.
literally just another interpretation of like everything that's happening
Yeah,
in
this
the
is like a good like example of how there's things out there and you can't always believe what you read, especially from these big places like the Independent and like the BBC and stuff. A lot of
Definitely.
times they're just saying stuff.
Definitely.
Basically.
And so another person is Stuart Hall, and he's hailed as the godfather of multiculturalism, and he was one of Britain's leading intellectuals and political campaigners. And he arrived from Jamaica in 1951 after winning a scholarship to study at Oxford University in 1960.
Aww.
He helped found the influential academic journal, and he pioneered academic study of low and highbrow culture, including the media, identity, sexuality, and race as a means to understand and interpret society and politics. He went on to co-found the first cultural studies course in Britain at the University of Birmingham. Sorry.
That's sick.
Oh no. Cultural studies
That's
course.
really good.
That's
Yeah.
really good. It's sad because these like, even though it's hard because they only want to shout about sexy things, and sexy doesn't mean like good looking sexy. It means
Yeah.
things that like, you know, making it so that black
Make-
people can
yeah.
sit down on a bus now. Do you know what I mean? And again, that is so based on the time that we were in there. Do you know what I mean? That was a big breakthrough then. Now everyone sits on the bus, so it's not a big breakthrough now for us. So we
Yeah.
can't relate to that as much, but we can relate to this because black people go uni. We're all at that stage. So to know that people who actually go to
And
the
that's a
cultural studies
big
course,
thing.
they probably
though
don't even know
he
who
did that
found it.
in England. That's a big thing in America. They take cultural study, like they go to uni to study things like Black history, this, and they have like so many different courses on. You see it in like all the movies and stuff. And then they've obviously got their fraternities, which is not a white thing. They've got a lot more things over there. But
Yeah.
it's probably because that's where they went first.
Yep.
Apart from the Cheddar Man, he came here.
And another person that I think is important to know in our UK Black history is Olive Morris. So she's actually featured on the Brixton Pound. It was launched in 2009, which I didn't know. She was a prominent civil rights activist. She was spearheading anti-racist activism in South London and Manchester. She made significant contributions to Black communities across the country, a member of Brixton's Black Panther movement. She co-founded an organisation of women of African and Asian descent and the Brixton Women's Group. And she left school without qualifications yet. She won a place to study at Manchester University and helped establish Black Women's Mutual Aid and the Manchester Black Women's Co-op. So she died at 27. A long time ago.
What?
Yeah, of cancer.
She did all of that and she wasn't even 20.
No,
she was
do you
even
mean-
30.
Do you mean 1927 or
No, she
was
died at age
27 years old?
27.
She did all of that and she wasn't even 30.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And I'm 25 and I'm doing what?
Okay.
Things like that. Like, honestly, I do think about things. You know, when we was talking about measurement of success.
Definitely.
That is
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, that's
100%.
mad.
Definitely agree.
That's crazy.
Having something left there when you leave, like you've actually made a contribution that's going
a
to stick
legacy.
beyond your
so
time.
many things.
We can't go with the episode without mentioning popular culture and the changes that have been made due to
Yeah.
the Black influence and the Black pioneers of that, I would say. And a person that springs to mind instantly for me is Dave. Now, I know, obviously, Stormzy, great, you know, but what I like about Dave is because he really, really homes in on the stereotype thing. Like even just
Yeah.
one of the articles from your notes is from The Independent, and the first line is, Black people have always been really good at sports. And it's like,
Oh, yeah.
here we go. And it makes me think of when he said, what about if you're not an athlete or rapper? Like, what do you do? You can work a 9 to 5 if it makes you smile at night. Money isn't the measure of success.
Oh.
I know, I don't have the rest.
Okay,
But
good.
she was looking at me every time and I kept going. But why I think Dave, obviously, young, brilliant, talented, of course. But he is a young
Changing the
person,
stereotype.
Very well.
articulates it brilliantly, and he's conscious enough to not just think it's something that happened so long ago.
Yeah.
Because I feel like so many people feel like they make it and they're in spite of them being black. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's coining it and he's like, I've made it because I am. Do you know what I mean? And I've wanted to make it. He's like, it's not in spite of, it's because of. Do you know what I mean? So because you can feel like you've made it in spite of, you don't talk about black history that much. And it's just something that you just like, yeah, I know
It's
how
true,
it is,
it's
just how it
true.
is. But he's like, nah. And the song he did, Black, is it called Just Black? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
It was.
So he was my little person that came to mind for me. What about you two?
I mean, obviously Stormzy came to mind, but you know,
Who would I say?
Wiley came up
Black
in one
British.
of the articles.
Yeah.
He has done a lot. But I haven't really heard Wiley. But I don't know Wiley like that. But I haven't really heard him. Obviously, none of us do. But I'm not of the age group. He's for people a bit slightly older, like 30-year-olds. But I haven't heard him talk about like conscious black stuff in his music. But that could
It's
be 'cause I
not.
just haven't
It's
heard
not that he talks about conscious black stuff. I feel like he just made
it. Moves
A big contribution to the music scene.
and pave the way for younger
Yeah.
black people.
Yeah.
Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
so it's not. It wasn't like
That's why it's
I'm
called The
doing this
Godfather.
for the black people. It was just like, this is the thing. This is what my people like. This is what we're gonna do. And then now that's been made its own genre, which is now marketable to the rest of the world. Which then is like a entryway for bare people, which is why he gets so offended when people come in and don't show
Yeah.
respect. Which is fair. I guess.
Fair enough, I agree, definitely.
What was interesting to me is that when we were doing this research and stuff, Kadisha, you said that you don't like to talk so much about slavery and everything like that. Why is that?
Because again, like we were saying about in school, when it comes to talking about black history, people just want to talk about slavery, Kunta Kinte, Roots, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, and they're all,
Valid.
I'm about to say great stuff. They're all like, the people are great, like the people were great, but like the topics are all very, very valid and very important. But if we learn about that in school, we'd go over that again in college, we talk about it again in adulthood. Yes,
I
it
just think
happened,
there's
but why
more
can't we
to it. There's
celebrate?
more
We've
to
come
offer now.
so far
Yeah.
since then. Why can't we talk about all the stuff that's happened since? Black people are inventors, you know? Like there was a black person, they created a cure for something somewhere in Africa in a university.
What
or
Nipsey
something.
Hussle was going to talk about before he died?
No,
Oh,
no,
that's another thing.
Not that, but like I'm sure the black person created the light bulb and the traffic lights and the sweeping brush. These are all things that we can't live without, you know.
Yeah.
And like, why are those people never like? We should know their names. I should be
Yeah.
able to say,
Recall them.
this person's created this person, but I don't. Do you know what I mean? And I'm also guilty of it. But I just feel like we need to discuss more of that
Yeah.
stuff because, like, when it comes to, we know Einstein created who found out this. We know,
But there was
Columbus
actually, funnily enough, I
did
actually read
this.
something that said that there was Einstein had a teacher at university, so the person that taught him was black. His lecturer
Doesn't shock me.
was black.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, but we never know his name. But we
Yeah.
can reel off all these white people that did all these things. But when it comes to the black people that did these things, we don't know their names. So when we're talking about doing these things in school, because if you think about it, you're in school for secondary school, this is, for 5 years. Fair enough, teach about World War II because we live here in Britain and it happened. Do that for half a term, 1 year. That's it. There's only so much you can say about it. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Anne Frank, key person to Britain. Speak about her for a week. Don't need to speak about them for 5 years. Like we could spend all this time going over all these different people. And I'm not just saying black people either because there's Chinese people. There's all that everywhere. It should be global history, not it, but it's not. Do you know what I mean? And that's why when it comes to talking about black history, I just get really wound up and annoyed because it's not everyday slaves.
Do you think
There's
there
more
should
to
be?
us than that. Do you know what I mean?
Do you think there should be a month celebrating other ethnicities as well? Like I don't feel like there's like one of it for Indians or Chinese people either. And why is it that you think people
I think
aren't more
I have
like
an answer
campaigning
for
for that?
But
I think that is because we have internal ones. Like, because with like Indians, for example, it's a lot religious. So like if you're Sikh, you'll have like Sikh festivals. Or like Hindu, you have Diwali. And then you will do that. Like
Yeah.
we don't really want, not that we don't want it, but we don't require the recognition in the same way. I'm not saying black people are asking for it, but I'm saying based on statistics and based on the reality of what's happening in Britain now to black people on the whole. Don't get me wrong, I know it happens to everyone. And I know
But
it
there is
happens to-
certain Asian, like Diwali is everywhere. like you go to
You can
Tesco
get
and there's the decorations up, and
yeah.
then they have festivals and like things like that. But there's like nothing for Black people. And again, like you said, with the Asian community, a lot of theirs is religious, whereas with Black people, it's not about religious. It's just about how our lives.
Yeah, and that's
were.
also another thing of it, because being Black, sadly, the majority of Black people were what's it called? Converted to Christianity during slavery. So you even share the white man's religion. So you can't even have your own, do you know what I mean? Because if it wasn't based on that, you would have had your own religion and you would have had your own days, and that was taken. So that's another reason where I feel like 100% there does need to be more recognition. And just finishing the point I was going to say, like, I know when I say like, yeah, what's happening to Black people today, it does happen to everyone. And I know it happens based on, you know, economic class and Asian and all of that. But like Stormzy said, if you look at the statistics, it is still on the whole Black people that are suffering the most.
Yeah.
So why shouldn't, you know?
It is true. And again, we pioneered to have this. Like we've just said, who started it? It was Black people who came together and said, look, we need to have this. And then it became. So it's not to say that other people can't. It's like, have they tried? Do they want it? Like, because I'm sure that you can, if you wanted to do it, even if it just starts in your own country or area and then it spreads out, because that's probably what happened with Black History Month. It started in one place and then it just branched out. So I feel like they probably could if they wanted to. Who says you can't?
I think it starts with us. We need to start.
It does, definitely.
Every just like International Women's Day. I said like, next year I'm gonna have a party for International Women's Day, and I'm gonna like with Black History Month and stuff. We need to be the ones to start doing big shit every single month and making it
like even now. There's way more Black award shows. Like we've got BET, they do BET Awards celebrating all the Black people, and then they do a special award for like, I can't remember the name of the award, but it's basically celebrating somebody who's old, and who's done bits for the community. And then even locally, like here in London, there's a bunch of Black awards going on. I seen one on Twitter today. I think it's called Black Excellence Award show. And that's going to be coming up soon. And there's just a few of them. And it's just so nice to see Black people celebrated for the shit that they're doing.
Yeah,
you know what
for
I mean?
their achievements and recognition of that.
Yeah,
Improved
and just
representation.
Representation, exactly. So it's nice to see these people being celebrated for things that you wouldn't have even thought about doing, but you're like, oh, well, they've done it and they're getting nominated for awards for it. That means I can step into that and try that and do that and be that. So it's really nice to see.
I agree. Should we round this up?
Yep.
Yeah.
Shout outs.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for listening as well, by the way. And tell us what you want to see for Black history and what you might not know about. And don't be afraid to ask. Like Jade said, you know, sometimes white people can feel scared to speak. But like, hit our DM.
This is a completely judgment-free
I wouldn't
zone,
say
and
put it
that's
on
what
your
we're all about,
story, but in our DM.
If you're ever unsure about anything, Google is your friend.
Yeah.
Like, I live for Google. I will stop a conversation to Google something.
She does that all the time.
Yeah, and if there's questions you've always wanted to ask your friend, but you think it might be rude, you don't know if you're crossing a line,
Google
ask
it
us.
first.
Now is the time where you can ask us and we can tell you, we can help you. Like,
exactly.
just do it. Like, we're here to
And if you know any Black events going on, send them to us so that we can spread awareness and post them up.
Yeah, for sure. And attend.
Yeah, and attend as
My
well.
shout out is, I don't know if Maya's actually said this book before. I know she's mentioned one of Akala's books. I don't know how many books he has or if this is the one. But when I was researching all of this stuff, a book that kept coming up that was a good one about Black history and everything was Akala's book, Natives, Race and Class in the Ruins of Empire. And everyone was saying it's a really, really good book just to celebrate Black history and just to get an understanding. So I'm definitely going to check it out and have a look at it. And I recommend that everyone else does too, because apparently it seems very good. People raving
really
about
good.
it.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Bless you.
Sorry, thank you.
And that's her shout out today. Mine.
God, I feel like I've got another one coming, so you go.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay. My shout out is, speaking of people who are about the business, Black, doing big things, a woman called Alexandra, and she heads up a movement. I don't know if you want to call it movement or like a thing.
Campaign or
Yeah. It's an international award-winning women empowerment and community movement. Yeah, called Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Boss. And I'll at her, and she came to one of my brunches, and she's very, very cool, and she does amazing things in America, and she's young and looks even younger. She's a mother, like she's just amazing all round. So definitely check her out and do the stuff that she's doing. And she's coming to London to do a host of like Black History events. So I'll get the information and the links in her bio, and we'll post it up, and hopefully you can attend.
Okay,
you want
I
to go?
didn't have a Black History Month themed shout out,
It's all right.
but
It's not really.
I've just thought of one now. I want to shout out Top Boy. It's not
Okay.
really Black History, but I know everyone was getting a bit upset because they're like, again, another like
Bad
show about
representation.
like men on the roads and drugs and violence and crime. But this shit is really happening on your doorstep. Like literally, you go out your house, you turn a corner and you see these people that are on Top Boy. So, and I feel like I've not even got to the end of it yet, but I feel like it was represented so well. Like the writers and the people involved, like I feel like they really took it to the streets, observed, knew what they were talking about, spoke to the right people, and they just pulled it off really well. Everyone was talking about it, everyone was gripped, everyone was touched, everyone felt some sort of emotion towards it. And just things like that, like the fact that we can create something and it's on Netflix or on billboards in America and it's a British show, it just shows you like anything's possible. Do you know what I mean? Because they started Top Boy, did 2 seasons and it got decommissioned and they thought there was no hope. But, you know, another Black person, yes, it was Drake. He came in, he's had the funds. He was like, look, this show needs to live on. So he bought it, he commissioned it. And then before you know it, it's come back and it's bigger. It's on Netflix. It had more funding. And I just think it was so great. So shout out to Top Boy. And if you haven't seen it yet, because last episode, if you remember, I hadn't seen any. I've caught up now. So, and
caught
I
up
was
with
literally
That was
gripped.
quick.
Yeah, no, I was literally gripped. And I don't even know why I didn't watch it in the first place. And it's probably because I was thinking,
It's gonna be
another
another-
gangs and drugs. But it was so good. Like when those 2 first seasons finished, I was sad. But I was glad that I watched the other one. And hopefully there is another one where they can do a spin-off, because I haven't got to the end, but I heard somebody, I don't mind spoilers. So I heard somebody said that at the end of it, Sully, one of the characters, seemed like he wanted to get out of that life. So if they did do a next one, it probably could be like a turnaround story.
yeah.
So yeah, shout out Top Boy and Drake.
All right. Have a good month, guys. Hope your October's good.
Yes.
And we'll see you
Thank
next
you
week.
for listening. Hope you enjoyed.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.